Welcome back to accountancy class. In the previous class, we have discussed about various accounting concepts like dual aspect concept, objectivity concept, matching concept, money measurement concept, cost concept. Likewise, several concepts we have discussed. Okay. Now we will come to know about systems of accounting. What do you mean by systems of accounting? How many types are there? You see, when you say systems of accounting, in accountancy, maintenance of records is done either in a double entry system or single entry system. That's all. Double entry system, single entry system. These are the two systems, means methods of maintaining accountancy books. Okay, see, in the previous class, we have discussed about debit and credit. This is very, very important term I told. What is debit? What is credit?
Credit is which we take money. No. Somebody who gives us money.
Okay. See, credit means I told it is for giving you use the word credit. For taking, for receiving, you use the word debit. Okay. See, under dual aspect concept, we will note down both these aspects. The debit aspect you note down and the credit aspect also of a transaction you note down. In any business transactions, two aspects will be there: giving aspect, taking aspect. If both of them you maintain, if you record, that is double entry system. If only single side you maintain, that is single entry system. Now let us take, for example, you go to market and you purchase batanis. You paid money. Money went out of the organization. Batanis came to your house. Money went out from your house. Batanis came. You record only batanis, that's all. Money you do not record in single entry system. What came to you, what is important for you, that only you note down, that's all. Remaining second half you do not note down, that is single entry system. Okay, only one aspect if you maintain in books, that is single entry system. If you note down two aspects, that is one debit aspect and one credit aspect in the books, that is double entry system. We nowadays everybody is maintaining double entry system. Single entry system is old method. Okay, so now all organizations are maintaining double entry system now. Nobody is maintaining single entry system. That is what we mean by saying systems of accounting. Two systems of accounting are there. One is single entry system, another one is double entry system. See, in a double entry system is based on dual aspect concept. That is why concepts are important. Dual means in the previous class I mentioned, dual means in a songs you will know duet and solo song. Solo song means only single person will sing. Duet means two persons will sing. Similarly, in accountancy also, dual aspect means one debit aspect, one credit aspect. Both if you maintain in the accountancy records, that is double entry system. Did you understand? Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, basis of account. See, just like in systems of accounting, two systems are there. Similarly, in basis also, two bases are there. Basis means, what do you mean by basis? It lays foundation for maintaining records. See, suppose in cash basis means, please try to understand the difference between the two with the help of an example I will mention. Okay. See, I mentioned that one financial year will begin in the month of April, from April 1st to next year, March 31st, it will continue, 12 months period. 1st April 2021 to 31st March 2022. This is one financial year. Okay. Now you are maintaining a big business organization, and you are paying salaries to employees. Normally, what happens if workers work in the month of January, you are going to make payment in the month of February. For March month, when will you pay salary? In the month of April, you will pay salary. Okay, is it clear?
Yes,
Right.
sir.
Now you see, if you are maintaining books, accountancy books based on cash basis, irrespective of the period to which that expenditure belongs, you will note down, that's all. Means even though March 2021 salaries, you are paying in April 2021. But in the books you will maintain in April 2021 books only you will write when you are maintaining under cash basis. Okay, irrespective of the period, in whichever month you pay, on whichever day you pay the amount, for that year only you will consider that expenditure. Originally, workers worked during the previous financial year, but whereas you are paying the money in the present financial year. So irrespective of financial periods, on whichever month, in whichever month you are making the payment, in whichever financial year you are making payment, in that year only you will record that is cash basis. Okay. Then when in case of accrual basis, what happens means in the year 2020-21, what you will mention is 11 months salaries already you paid, you mentioned salaries 11 months. Let us take for example, every month 1,000 rupees you are paying, 11,000 you already paid, whereas March month 1,000 rupees you did not pay. In the month of April you will. So what you will do is you will add that amount also, plus you will mention it as outstanding salaries. Outstanding means still to be paid. You did not pay, next year you will pay. Outstanding salaries you will mention, this 1,000 you will add. So totally 12,000 you will show. In case of accrual basis of accounting. Did you understand?
Yes, sir.
Okay, in cash basis, irrespective of the financial year, in whichever year you are making payment, in that year's records you will note down whether it may be income or it may be expenditure. Whereas in accrual basis, based on accounting period, a financial year you will consider. If any amount is to be paid, you will mention it as outstanding. Suppose any person has to give you money pertaining to this year only, but he will give next year. You will adjust that also in income side also. Okay, to be received from so and so person, income to be received, you will add that one on income side. Okay, so these are the two bases of accounting. Okay, one is cash basis and the another one is accrual basis. Okay, I hope you understood. Okay, now
Yes, sir.
Now coming to accounting standards. See, standard means, what do you mean by standard? Your school is having a wonderful standard, I told. Your college has set a wonderful standard, I told. What does it imply?
Good name.
A good name. Good name means that is goodwill. Okay. Standard means is having a very good policies. Is maintaining stringent policies, stringent rules are there, stringent regulations are there. Okay, you have a very good identity when you are maintaining standard means. In other words, you are maintaining a good goodwill. That is in your words, it is good name you are having in the society. Okay, so in order to ensure uniformity in the preparation of accountancy records, accounting standards are established. See, I maintain some form of accountancy records. You maintain some form of accountancy records. Then you cannot compare my performance with your performance. Suppose for you, one question paper is given. For your classmate, another question paper is given. Can you compare the marks between you two? You cannot make any comparison because your standard question paper is different. Her standard question paper is different. You cannot make a comparison. So in order to ensure uniformity, in order to ensure comparison between organizations or within the organization itself, previous year's performance with that of this year's performance, you want to make a comparison. You should not frequently change your policies, your methodology of maintaining accountancy records. Okay, to ensure standards, ICAI means Institute of Chartered Accountants of India has prescribed certain standards. Means in our previous classes, I mentioned the examples of depreciation. You purchased TV. Every year, how much value has to be decreased? There should be a standard. Those standards will be prescribed by ICAI. In our country, ICAI is prescribing standards, how to maintain records. Okay, how much depreciation should be provided. I mentioned reserve also. In the previous class, I asked whether you know bike riding or not, or scooty riding or not. In reserve, it will be petrol. Then you will have some petrol in reserve. Okay, how much amount of profit should be kept in reserve? There should be some standard. So they will prescribe, ICAI prescribes some standards. Okay, they ensure uniformity. They eliminates variations. Means elimination of variation means uniformity will be there. Okay, all information will be disclosed to the needed persons. If there are no standards, some information will be concealed. Okay, similarly, in the introduction itself, I mentioned it facilitates comparison between organizations or within the organization also. You can compare the performance. So these are the advantages of accounting standards. Okay, not only that, there are certain limitations also. See, these standards are imposed. You cannot change. There is no choice for you. You have to adopt. That's all. Okay, there is no choice for the business organizations. You have to compulsorily follow them. Okay, there is no flexibility. Okay, flexibility means you cannot change. Flexible is opposite of fixed. Okay, you cannot write. See, sometimes accounting standards cannot override the statute. Means the laws, whichever state has, every state in our country has certain own statutes, means laws. So even accounting standards cannot override them. Means accounting standards are not above the law. They have to be within the framework of the law of the land. That's all. Okay, those are the limitations of accounting standards. Accounting standards are prescribed by ICAI in the country, Institute of Chartered Accountants of India. Okay, so applicability of accounting standards, these are applicable to all organizations. You can see sole proprietorship unit means single person who is the owner of the organization, partnership firm, societies, cooperative society or any other society, trusts, Hindu undivided family, association of persons, cooperative societies, companies, international financial reporting system. Okay. For all these, accounting standards are applicable. See, international financial reporting system is otherwise known as IFRS, International Financial Reporting System. See, this system is applicable to the entire world. Okay, International Financial Reporting System, so that one country's company's performance can be compared with that of another country's company's performance. There should be uniformity. So this IFRS ensures standards across the globe, across the countries. Okay, so that is what you mean by saying this applicability of accounting standards. Okay, need for IFRS means I told you, International Financial Reporting System. Okay, so need for IFRS so as to ensure comparability, so as to eliminate any choice or chance, so as to ensure what you call disclosure. Needed information is disclosed to the needed persons in time. Okay, So see, India, this is INDAS means Indian Accounting Standards. See, certain standards are established. See, let us take for example. See, let us take for example, second standard is there. Inventories. Inventory means raw material or finished product or work in progress or whatever it may be. That is known as inventory. Okay, income tax. Let us take for example, 12th standard prescribes income tax. What is the system to be adopted in paying income tax? How to maintain income tax payment records? Likewise, everything will be mentioned in that standard. So certain standards are mentioned in our Indian accounting standards. Okay, Indian EAS means accounting standards. See, you can see only important ones are mentioned in your book. See, these are the important ones. You can just go through them. Several standards are there. You can see 108 standards have been, up to 108 have been mentioned. Important standards have been mentioned in your book, it seems. Okay. Now you can see this right side. This is normal accounting standard. Means these are prescribed by IFRS. I told you, International Financial Reporting System. These are Indian accounting standards. Okay, they in the textbook, the comparison is given. In India, you will say second standard is relating to inventories. In international standard, it is valuation of inventories. Like just nomenclature changed, name changed. That's all. Okay. For example, you can see 12th standard income tax is there. In India, 11th standard relates to construction contracts. In international standard, it is 7th standard construction contracts. In international reporting standard, 7th standard pertains to relates to construction contract. Whereas same construction contract is explained in 11th standard in our country, like that. Okay, more or less, almost similarly, with small discrepancy, with small difference, they will be mentioned. Okay, is it clear? These are standards.
Yes,
Accounting.
sir.
Okay, now come to GST. What is GST? Yes, what is GST?
Tax.
Okay, what is the full form? Goods and services tax. Okay, I told you the difference between goods and the services. Goods can be clearly visible. Services you cannot see, you cannot touch. Goods you can touch. Okay, you see in which year GST was introduced in India? Have you got any idea? In the year 2017, GST was introduced in India. In which country GST was first time introduced? In France. That is a European country. In France, first time GST was introduced. Now in almost more than 140 countries, GST is being followed. GST is being adopted in more than 140 countries. Goods and services tax. It is under the slogan, one country, one tax. That's all. Prior to GST, VAT, central VAT, state VAT, like that, several kinds of taxes were there. But now only one taxation system that is followed across the country, that is GST. Okay, CGST means Central Goods and Services Tax. SGST means State Goods and Services Tax, likewise. Okay, similarly UGST is also there. UTGST, that is Union Territory Goods and Services Tax. Okay, so in order to ensure only single tax, in the heading itself you can see it is one country, one tax. That's all. Uniform, in order to bring uniformity in the country regarding taxation system, GST was introduced in our country during 2017. Okay. Then see our taxation system. This is just an introduction to taxation system. See, this is not direct taxes. This is just taxes. Direct should not be there. There is a mistake. Okay. Taxes are divided into indirect taxes, direct taxes. So income tax is direct tax. Means direct tax means there is no broker. Directly the person who is responsible to pay tax, he will pay directly to the tax authorities or the government. Okay. Indirect tax, in indirect tax, brokers will be there, mediators will be there. The person who has to pay tax, he will pay with the help of others. See, you are sitting with pen, we are sitting with notes. When you purchased notes, when you purchased pen, certain amount is paid as GST. You do not know how much you paid, but you are not paying to the government directly. The shopkeeper who sold you, he will pay on behalf of you to the government. Those taxes are indirect taxes. Okay. So in indirect taxes, there several are there. In a state, VAT, entry tax, octroi, luxury tax. In center, service tax, excise duty, CST, customs duty, several taxes are there. This is the taxation system of our country has been introduced to you. That's all. Okay. Taxes are, what is a tax actually? What do you mean by tax?
Which we pay to government.
Very good. Compulsory payment of to government is tax. So we have to pay tax either to state government or to central government or to local body also. Local government also means Gram Panchayat, Nagar Panchayat, municipality, corporation. Okay. Likewise, two, these are known as local governments, local bodies. For them also we have to pay tax. Okay. So his taxation system is introduced to you. That's all. These are the characteristic features of GST. Means common law, same, several kinds of taxes are eliminated. Now entire country is under GST. That's all. There is no multiple levy of tax on goods and services. Only it is single level tax is being levied now. Earlier, at various points, tax used to be levied. Okay. In order to eliminate multiplicity in taxation, GST was introduced in our country. It is comprehensive levy and collection of tax. Okay, comprehensive means it includes everything. Nothing can escape it. All goods and services except certain goods and services, all are included in GST. Okay. So that's all advantages. It eliminates various kinds of taxes. Uniformity is established. It will reduce price. Like these are the advantages. Okay. See, you can see I mentioned no? CGST, SGST, UTGST is also there if it is union territory, and IGST is also there. IGST means integrated goods and services tax. When goods travel from one state to another state, IGST will come into place. Okay, intra-state means within state, selling and purchasing. Intra means within the same state. In that condition, CGST, SGST will be there. If goods travel from one state to another state, another kind of tax will be imposed, that is known as IGST, integrated goods and services tax. Suppose we are living in Telangana. You also belong to Telangana only or Andhra?
Telangana, sir.
Okay. From Telangana, if goods travel across the border to Andhra Pradesh, IGST will be attracted. Integrated goods and services tax you have to pay. Okay, the purchaser or the seller, as the case may be, or the shopkeeper or the trader, in simple terms, they have to pay it. Okay, so this is regarding the GST. This is just an introduction to you about the taxation system in our country. Tax implies compulsory payment to government. That's all. Compulsory payment to government. Nobody can escape. Okay. So this is the second unit. I will start the third unit also. Okay. With the third unit, we have to be introduced with the problems. We have to do problems from the third unit onwards. See, if you see the syllabus, just once. So this is the third unit. You note down the heading. Third chapter, recording of transactions. Are you able to see this NCERT website?
Yes, sir.
Recording of transactions. Recording of transactions. Number 1, you keep Roman number 1. Recording of transactions, Roman number 1. Okay. Right. Now you can see, irrespective of what it is mentioned in your book, recording of transactions, how it is done, I will mention. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
See, what I am doing is I am doing a problem with the help of MS Word document. That's all. I opened the document, I am doing. Okay, means I am using my laptop as blackboard or whiteboard. I am using it as blackboard, whiteboard. Okay, is it clear? Did you understand? Okay.
Yes,
See,
sir.
irrespective of what that is written in your book, that is given in your book, I follow my own method in recording of in this chapter, from this chapter onwards. Okay. See, first of all, how to record transactions, we have to understand. In order to understand that, we have to keep two things in mind. One is, in every transaction, two aspects will be there. One is, I mentioned, one is the debit aspect, and the next one is credit aspect. In every transaction, one thing you are going to give, another thing you are going to receive. It may be money, or it may be goods, it may be services, or it may be anything. Two aspects are going to be there. You have to identify them properly. And while recording transactions, the identification of debit item and credit item is very, very important. Okay. So I follow my own method in how to record transactions. Okay. Cash, identification of cash transactions. This we will see. This is important. Identification of cash transactions. Now you see. Okay. Now you see, in identifying a cash, whenever cash transaction is done, compulsorily one account will be cash. Two accounts will be involved in any transaction. One is going to be debited, another account is going to be credited. Okay, means one you are going to take, another one you are going to give. In other words, that giving, taking, I am mentioning in accounting terminology, that is debit and credit. Did you understand? So in case of cash transaction, compulsorily one account is going to be cash. That is going to be influenced. See, another account that is going to be influenced, you have to identify. Normally, in case of cash transaction, if the person's name is given, you should ignore that person. Normally, only if cash is paid to some X, in that case only you will record that person's name. Otherwise, see, one simple example I will tell. See, you go to a Kirana shop near your house. You pay him 20 rupees and you purchase one book. Is he writing your name in his notes? Will he note down that he gave you one notes and you gave him 20 rupees? Is he noting down? He will not note down because you paid money, that's all. See, whereas suppose you have taken book from the Kirana shop holder. You did not pay money. You said that next week I will pay. Today I do not have money. You see, he knows, okay, Baba, you go, he will say, but he will mention in his notes your name. means your father's name or mother's name, he will note down, and 20 rupees has to be paid by your family, he will note down. Otherwise, he will forget. Okay. So in case of cash transaction, there is no need to write the name of the person. But in credit transaction, means second time when you purchased, that is credit transaction. Means you are enjoying good now, you are paying money afterwards. You have taken book now, you are paying for it afterwards. That is credit transaction. So transactions are of two types. One is cash transaction. Another one is credit transaction. In case of cash transaction, compulsorily one account that is going to be influenced is cash account. Another account you have to identify. Okay. So how to identify whether it is a cash transaction or credit transaction? We will do some examples for that. We will try to identify two accounts. Account means it gives complete information regarding that particular item. Account in simple terms. Okay. See, suppose if you have a bank account, your father has a bank account. If he goes to bank and he will ask the banker to give a statement of his account, he will give total transactions regarding his account. Means how much he has withdrawn, how much he has deposited in the bank, everything will be there. Means total details pertaining to a particular person or a particular item you can find in account. Okay. So in any transaction, in the cash transaction or a credit transaction, you have to identify two accounts. One account will be debited, another account will be credited. So how to, in case of cash transaction, compulsorily one account that is going to be influenced is cash. Either cash comes to you or goes out of you. That's a goes out from your hand. That is very, very important that you have to remember. Did you understand? Did you understand? Okay, we will examine.
Yes, sir.
We will examine certain transactions now. Okay. Cash paid to Ram. Okay, now you see 5 transactions I mentioned. Cash paid to Ram, 1000 rupees. See here, you please understand that before every amount, rupees is there. Okay, because we are living in India, so our currency is rupees. So I am not mentioning again. Okay, cash paid to Ram, 1000 rupees it implies. See, is it a cash transaction?
Yes, sir.
Very good. It is a cash transaction. Salary is 10,000 rupees. Is it a cash transaction or not?
No, sir.
No. See here, word is cash is not there, but you are going to pay salary in the form of cash only. No? Salary you will not pay in chaddars or duppats or pencils in the form of pens or pencils. You will not pay salary. You will pay in the form of cash only. So even then, in the sentence, cash is not there means it does not necessarily imply that it is not cash transaction. You have to read properly. salaries are going to be paid in the form of cash only. So you have to mention it also as cash transaction. Okay. Goods purchased from Shiva, 500. Is it a cash transaction? You have purchased goods from Shiva for 500 rupees. Is it cash transaction or not?
Yes, sir.
Where is it mentioned that you have given him money? It is not mentioned. No? Goods purchased from Shiva, worth 500 it means. In that sentence, nothing is mentioned that you paid him 500. Means it is a credit transaction. Okay. Goods sold to Venkat for cash. Is it a cash transaction or credit transaction? Goods sold.
Cash.
Very good. Because here the difference between these two sentences you see. Here goods purchased from Shiva, but the word cash is missing here. For cash or not, it is not given. Whereas here goods sold to Venkat for cash, it is clearly given. So that is why it is a cash transaction. That is the difference between the two. Okay. It is a cash transaction. Next. Wages 700. Is it cash transaction or credit transaction?
Cash.
Very good. Because wages you are automatically going to pay in the form of cash only. You will not pay in any other terms. Okay. So that is why. So you have to identify whether it is a cash transaction or credit transaction, first of all. That is first important thing in maintaining records. Okay. Now, next step I will tell. Now, shall I give you another 5 sentences in which you have to mention whether it is cash transaction or credit transaction? Okay. Note down. First one. Sold goods to Krishna. Purchased goods from Manikanta. For cash. Okay. Stationery 800. Rent 6,000. Electricity charges 1,000. Purchased furniture from Kapil 50,000. That's all. You solve this.
Sir.
Yes.
Sir, how can we differentiate them, sir, whether it is related to cash or credit?
Okay, see, in the sentence, if the word cash is there, that is a cash transaction. If in the sentence, a person's name is there, but the word cash is not there, means it is credit transaction. If in a sentence, nothing is mentioned about a person, it is a cash transaction. Means let us take, for example, very good question you asked. Here salaries is there. Here there is no mentioning of any other person. Means it is cash only. Here cash paid to Ram. Here person's name is there, but cash is also there. That is cash transaction. Goods purchased from Shiva. Here the word cash is missing. Person's name is there. Means it is credit transaction. Okay, goods sold to Venkat for cash. Here person's name is there, but cash is also there. That is, it is a cash transaction. Wages, here there is no mentioning of any person's name. Means it is a cash transaction. So in a sentence, you have to watch it carefully, whether the word cash is there or not. If cash is there, means there is no doubt it is automatically cash transaction. Again, if only a person's name is there, the word cash is missing, means it is credit transaction normally. Okay, if there is in a sentence, there is no mentioning of any person's name, that is a credit that is a cash transaction almost. Okay, these are the features of cash transaction or credit transaction. You can identify clearly. Now you solve. I will tell how to. You try to differentiate. You try to identify that. Sold goods to Krishna. Is it cash or credit? You solve all the 6 first, then I will explain. Okay, now you tell me, sold goods to Krishna. Is it cash or credit?
Credit, sir.
Very good. Here, person's name is mentioned, but the word cash is missing. That is a credit transaction. Purchased goods from Manikanta for cash. Is it a cash or credit?
Cash.
Very good. Stationery. You purchased pens, pencils like that. Is it cash or credit?
Cash.
Okay, because the no person's name is there. Okay. Next, rent 6,000. Is it cash or credit?
Cash.
Very good. Electricity charges 1,000. Is it cash or credit?
Cash.
Purchased furniture from Kapil. Is it cash or credit?
Cash.
Where is the word cash?
So 50,000 is mentioned.
In every sentence, the amount is there, no? But it does not imply that we paid him. So here also sold goods to Krishna is there. 500 is there. Amount is there. But nothing is mentioned. No, we paid him like that. It is not mentioned. But for cash like that, it is not mentioned there. So similarly, here also like that only, no? Purchased furniture from Kapil. For cash is not there. Okay, so that is why it is a credit transaction. Like that, you have to identify correctly. Okay. Then see. Now next task is, I hope you can do it. If we do at least 10 or 20 problems like that, it is easy for you to identify. That's all. It is very simple. Okay. Okay. You can do no cash or credit transaction identification. You can do no.
Yes, sir.
You understand? Okay, right. Now what I am going to do is, right. Now you see, after the identification is over, you have to identify, I mentioned, no, 2 accounts that are going to be influenced. In a cash transaction, compulsorily one account is cash account. Okay. Another account you have to identify. In this one, what is the other account? The person's name is here, Ram. That account is to be influenced, is going to be influenced. So this account also you have to keep in mind. Ram account is one, cash account is the other one. These 2 accounts are influenced with this transaction. Okay. Cash account is the first account that is influenced. Another account is Ram account. Okay. You have to identify 2 accounts that are influenced by a transaction. Okay. One cash account is influenced because cash is going out of the organization. Who is receiving that cash? Ram is receiving. Okay. That is why his name is also important. Okay. Now, second one, salaries paid 10,000 rupees is there. What are the 2 accounts influenced? Cash is there means compulsorily cash account you have to mention. Cash account. Second one is what account? There is no other account. That is salaries account is there. That's all. Second account is salaries account. That's all. Are you able to understand? Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay, third one. Goods purchased from Shiva. Here you have to see two accounts. In case of credit transaction, the person's name is important. Shiva is there. So you have to mention his name. Shiva account is influenced. Okay. Another one is what account? Goods account. You should not mention. You have to mention purchases account. Okay. You purchased goods from Shiva for credit. That is why his name is important. In case of credit, that is why I asked you, when you purchased 20 rupees worth notes in a Kirana shop, in a credit transaction, what he will do? He will write your name in his notes. So that after 1 month, if you do not pay, means he will ask your father or mother. So here also, you purchased goods from Shiva for credit. So you have to pay him after 1 month. So you have to mention in your notes also his name. Okay. So one is Shiva account, another account is purchases account. Next one. Goods sold to Venkat for cash. See here. What is the first account that is influenced? Cash. Cash account is influenced. Second one, the name is not important in this case. What is that account? You are saying sold. Means the sales account you will mention. So when you have mentioned purchases, means automatically sales will come. When you are purchasing goods, you mentioned purchase account. When you are selling goods, you have to mention sales account. Okay. Next one, fifth one, wages in cash. So first account is cash account. And the next account is no other term is there in the sentence. Wages account. Two accounts are going to be influenced. Okay. Sixth transaction is sold goods to Krishna for credit. In case of credit, what I told, person's name is important. First account that is going to be influenced is Krishna account. Second one, sales came. Okay. Second account is sales account. Okay. Are you able to understand? So
Yes,
what we are doing is, first of all, some transactions we have taken. In those transactions, we have identified whether it is a cash transaction or credit transaction. So that we can identify two accounts which are influenced by the transaction. Okay. In case of cash transaction, compulsorily word cash account will come. Another account you have to identify. In case of credit transaction, person's name will be given. That account will be influenced. Another account you have to identify. Okay. See why we are doing like this means one account is to be debited, another account is to be credited. For that we are identifying this. Okay. Then purchased goods from Manikanta for cash. See, it is cash transaction, automatically cash account will come. Okay. Second account is what?
Purchases.
Very good. Purchases. Very good. Purchases account. Next one, this is seventh transaction. Then eighth transaction, stationery. This is cash transaction. That is why cash account will be influenced. Second transaction is what? Second account is what?
Stationery account.
Stationery account. Very good. Stationery account. Ninth one, rent. This is a cash transaction. So compulsorily cash account is going to be influenced. Second transaction is what? Second account is what? Rent account.
Rent account.
Okay. Next. Our 10th transaction is electricity charges. So it is a cash transaction, automatically cash account is going to be influenced. Second account that is influenced is electricity charges. Okay. Last one, purchased furniture from Kapil. So person's name is important here because it is a credit transaction. Kapil account. Okay. Next one is what?
Purchases account.
Very good. But it is wrong. Okay. See why it is wrong means, see, whenever here purchased goods from Manikanta means you are mentioning purchases. Okay. But here purchased furniture from Kapil means the difference between goods and furniture, you see, you understand properly. Goods, when you mention the word goods, what it implies is you are purchasing in order to resell those goods. You are dealing with the goods, that's all. You will purchase in order to resell them. You will sell them to customers. Whereas here furniture implies you will not sell it for money purpose. You are going to purchase it for your office use. In your shop, you are going to utilize it. You will maintain it as asset for you. It will be useful for you for several years. It is fixed asset. Okay. So the word purchases you will use only for in terms of goods which you purchase in order to resell, in order to sell them. Whereas here you should not use the word purchases. Here asset is there. Asset is furniture. So second account is furniture. Did you understand?
Yes, sir.
Okay, that is why in order to confuse you, I gave the 11th transaction. So that instead of purchase, you have to understand that you have to use the word furniture. Whenever asset is purchased, that asset's name you have to enter. Okay, only for goods, you have to mention purchases or sales. Goods account, you should not write. Okay. So these are the 11 transactions that we have seen today. Okay. Certain, see, if once I am stopping this, I am sharing your book. Once I will share your book. See, these are, see, in books like this, they will not mention directly. They will go into problems. So you cannot understand like that. First of all, basics you have to be thorough with. Only then you can write the transactions. You can record transactions in appropriate way, in a proper way. See, whatever I mentioned now, just one example I am showing. See, here furniture account is there, cash account is there. Two accounts are there. See, in every transaction, two accounts are going to be influenced, I told you. One is furniture, you can see. One here, furniture account is there, here cash account is there. So directly, what they are doing is the date, on which date the transaction happened, here you have to write. The account that is to be debited, you have to write in the first sentence. The account that is to be credited, you have to write in the second sentence. LF column, this is LF means ledger folio. This column, you will keep it as empty. Okay, opposite to debit column, you will mention 25,000. Opposite to credit also, you will mention 25,000. Okay, see here cash also came, furniture account, two cash accounts, two another person's name is there. Okay, I will just clear once. So modern furniture account, see 5,000, 20,000, totally it became 25,000. All debit side amount should be equal to credit side amount always. In the previous class, we have learned matching concepts. Debit amount should be equal to credit amount. That's all. So here, debit side transaction, you will mention in the first sentence. In the second sentence, you will mention credit side amounts. And the credit side, whatever account that you are going to give credits, that you will mention in the second sentence. So you cannot understand, it is not easy to understand directly that much. So that is why slowly I will take you to that level. So that is why you have to first of all practice debit, the identification of transactions, which is cash transaction, which is credit transaction. Then the two accounts that are influenced by a transaction, you should know, you should identify. Then which account is to be debited, which account is to be credited, you have to identify. Then we will draw like this, draw boxes like this, and we will do problems like this. So it takes at least 5-6 days to go up to this stage. We will go step by step. Okay. Okay. Now what I am going to do is, I will stop sharing. Okay. Two problems. 6 transactions I will give for homework. But tomorrow you have to tell. You have to tell whether they are cash transactions or credit transactions. Again, you have to mention the two accounts that are influenced. Okay. So just a minute. Salaries paid to employees 1,000 rupees. Rent paid 5,000 rupees. 5,000 rupees. Sold buildings to Achala 15 lakh rupees. 15 lakh. See, how many transactions are over?
6, sir.
Okay, 6 are enough. You read them once.
Telephone charges 6,000.
Okay.
Cash paid to Venkatesh 600. Sold goods to Amrita 10,000. Salary paid to employees 1,000.
Okay.
Rent paid 5,000. Sold buildings to Achala 15 lakhs.
Sold buildings to Achala. Okay. To Achala 15 lakhs. Okay. So now in the next class, I will verify whether you have recorded correctly or not, whether you have identified correctly or not. Okay, is it clear? I hope you understood the identification of cash transaction and credit transaction, and the two accounts that are influenced by a transaction. Okay, it is clear now?
Yes, sir, it is clear.
This is the first step in maintaining accountancy records. First, you should be able to identify two accounts that are influenced by a transaction. Okay, we will meet in the next class. Okay, thank you very much, dear students.